Scott Bissell flies a lot, but when he checked his suitcase on an Air Canada flight bound for Orlando, Florida last July, it never showed up. He asked an Air Canada agent if he could buy a few basics.
Well, I actually asked her, is there any sort of compensation that she could give me while I wait for my bag? And she said no. So that was full on. There's nothing we can do at this time.
A tactic, some say, to avoid paying what Air Canada should.
By lying to passengers, the airline has nothing to reimburse or very little to reimburse because passengers are afraid to spend money.
This passenger rights advocate says dozens of countries, including Canada, have signed an international treaty called the Montreal Convention governing air travel. It states that the airlines have a legal obligation to compensate international travelers for damages caused by delayed or lost luggage, and passengers can claim up to about $2,100 Canadian. As a test, Go Public called Air Canada's baggage call centre in India.
Thank you for calling Air Canada
3 times.
So how much can I claim?
Each time, agents say we can only claim up to $150 US on day 1, another $50 on day 2, far short of that $2,100 Canadian limit.
How is it possible that a large corporation like Air Canada gets away with repeatedly, blatantly, flagrantly disregarding the law and yet facing no consequences?
Gabor Lukács has filed a complaint with the Canadian Transportation Agency, saying Air Canada is misleading passengers by claiming the compensation it does give is a gesture of goodwill, when it's actually a legal requirement. Air Canada declined an interview request. In a statement, a spokesperson said, "We approve reasonable interim expenses and that customers are clearly informed on their itinerary receipt and on our website." But Air Canada did not address why its agents give misleading information to passengers about how much they can claim.
And Erica Johnson joins me now from Vancouver. Always good to remind people about the Montreal Convention. It's there for their protection, but there are more rules coming in the spring, right?
Yeah, that's right, Adrienne. The airline regulator is working on a more comprehensive bill, the Passenger Bill of Rights, and it's specifically for Canadians. It's going to cover not just lost or delayed luggage, but all kinds of things like what to do if you get bumped off a flight or if your flight is delayed or canceled completely. And those regulations are expected to come in the next few months.
Okay, but between now and then, things are likely to go wrong, delayed luggage and flights and whatnot. Any advice for people?
We are heading into the holiday season, which is always madness at the airport. So if you are traveling, a couple of tips. Number 1, take a picture of your suitcase. I know that sounds silly, but it makes it easy to identify later if need be or forward it on to somebody. Make your luggage look unique. So do something like tie a ribbon around it if you've got that very common black suitcase. Attach an identity tag with your name and your phone number on it so it can get back to you. And of course, if all goes wrong, the old take it to social media, the old name and blame game, because airlines are very sensitive to bad publicity and you are more likely to get your issue looked into and possibly resolved.
Or just carry travel on. All good advice.
That's right. For all people who don't have kids, if you're traveling by yourself, that works.
Okay, thanks, Erica.
Thank you.
As for the passenger at the center of this story, after Scott Bissell submitted receipts, Air Canada did reimburse him for just over $500. If you have a story you want to see go public, get a hold of our team by sending an email to gopublic@cbc.ca.